Good morning, everyone. Hey, it's still morning, technically. Hey, the news of sexual assault, it's getting out of control these days. Every day, someone else is being taken down by new accusations. Are these accusations true? No one really knows. Do the accusation have to be true to have some sort of effect on you and me? No, they don't, unfortunately. And as there's no proof of the validity of the accusations, there's also no way to disprove them. So people rely on their own personal prejudices to decide whether or not a person is a creeper or not. In the meantime, people's lives are being damaged. Things are out of control. Lobbing allegations with no way to prove them in hopes of getting some sort of cash or notoriety, or worse yet, the hearts and minds of others is evil. This will end badly, you see. All these things, when they go out of control, always do. Eventually, no one will care any longer about sexual assault, believe it or not, because the vultures have cried wolf too many times, and the real victims will suffer. So what do we learn from all this? Human contact ruins lives. All right, everybody. Welcome to the show, Michael Newman Show. Thank you for joining me. Michael Newman Productions is the name of the website. You can go there, and it'll be groovy. All right, it's all the stuff. If you want to, be a part of the show, everything you need to know is all right there. You can contact me via the contact link, Twitter, Newmaniac1. Follow me on that thing. And most importantly, please, please, please support the show. Click on the big blue support icon. It's right there on the front of the page and takes you to Patreon, where you can make sure this show stays right where it is. I need your help as much as possible. As a matter of fact, I'm waiting on a phone call from a guy to go do some manual labor, make money, putting up fencing. Well, don't feel bad, because I actually need to get out of the house every once in a while, and some sort of physical activity will fight off the fat. Or at least I've been told. I haven't tried it as yet, but we'll see how it all goes, and we'll see if we get a phone call. So, what's going on? Oh, Roy Moore. That's all right. Oh, Roy Moore. Remember him? From Alabama. Apparently, he's had some sort of encounter with a 14-year-old when he was 32. Is that what happened? Story from the Washington Post. Lake Hoffman says she was 14 years old when an older man approached her outside a courtroom in Alabama. She was sitting on a wooden bench with her mother. They both recall, her and her mother, when the man introduced himself as Roy Moore. I don't know if he had his pistol out at the time, but, it's possible. Early 1979 is when this happened. Moore was 32. He was assistant district attorney. He struck up a conversation with Korfman and her mother, and offered to watch the girl while her mother went inside for a child custody hearing. Alone with the young lady, Moore chatted her up, asked her for her phone number. She says days later, apparently she gave the phone number, and he picked her up around the corner from her house and drove her about 30 minutes into the woods. I guess it was his home that was out there, and told her how pretty she was, and then he kissed her ever so gently. Yeah. On a second visit, so this happened on the first visit, there was another visit apparently, of her own free will and volition. Granted, she's 14 and probably doesn't know any better. She says that he took off her shirt and pants and then removed his clothes. He touched her over her bra and her underpants, and says, then he guided her hands to touch him over his underwear. I wanted it to be over with. I wanted out, she remembers thinking. Please just make this be over with. Whatever this is, just get it over with. Korfman says he asked her to, she asked him to take her home. He did, and that was it. Apparently, there had been some other allegations as well with Mr. Moore. And it's of course, he's running for office now. And, of course, this stuff pops up at that point in time. It's the new hit du jour, my friends. Something happened back in 1979. Did he do it? Did he not? What sort of long-term effects did this have on the young lady? Is there any proof that it actually happened? Who knows? I mean, everyone wants to err on the side of caution, right? You don't want some sort of predator being in office, blah, blah, blah. And if he's a bad guy, then he's a bad guy and we should take him out. So you want to err on the side of caution. But at the end of the day, it ruins people's lives. Just an allegation with no substantiated proof. No, look, I mean, was there pictures? What was there? Was there a witness to the actual? I don't know. It's just hearsay at this point. And the standard for this stuff to affect somebody's life has to be greater than hearsay. And of course, with all the stuff that was going on in Hollywood, more and more allegations are coming out now against more and more different people. I guess it's the in thing to try to take out Hollywood stars. Did they do it? I don't know. Now, the allegations are against Mr. Louis C.K. In 2002, a Chicago comedy duo, Diana and Julia, landed their big break, a chance to perform at the U.S. Comedy Arts Festival in Aspen, Colorado, when Louis C.K. invited them to hang out in his hotel room for a nightcap after their late-night show. All the bars were closed, so it was no big deal. As soon as they sat down in the room, apparently, still wrapped in their winter jackets and hats, Louis walked in and asked if he could take out his penis. They thought it was a joke, laughed it off, and then he really did it, says one of the ladies. In the interview with the New York Times, he proceeded to take all of his clothes off, all of them, not just the old schwanz there, get completely naked and started masturbating. That is the allegation. And that's not the only one. In 2003, Abby Schauner called Louis C.K. to invite him to one of her shows. And during the phone conversation, she said she could hear him masturbating as they spoke. Well, okay, you're at home. Somebody calls you. I mean, is that really an allegation of sexual harassment? I mean, granted that you have to answer to the phone. I don't know. But another comedian said that while she was appearing with Louis on a television pilot in 2005, he asked her if he could masturbate in front of her. She declined the offer. So it seems like the same thing is being alleged over and over and over again. And now Los Angeles prosecutors, in a separate story, are forming a special Hollywood sexual assault task force. And the ultimate goal of this, I don't know. It's not going to change anything in the long run other than make it no longer safe to have any contact with other human beings whatsoever. Because something you said, did, that you thought was completely innocuous could be brought up later on in life. It was a joke that you said 10 years ago, then somebody brings it up later on in life to destroy you. And if allegations are the measure of evidence, then no one is safe. So it's better off just to not speak to anyone. Well, it is a Friday, so we have sort of a grab bag of news going on today. We'll just kind of go through these stories as quickly as possible. I want to keep this thing short. I've got some other things to do today. We'll try to do a live show tonight. I don't know how well I'll feel tonight. Dan Rather was in the news. I guess, is he pushing a new book? Is that what's going on? Anyway, he was on CNN talking to Don Lemon and accused Ed Gillespie. They were speaking a little bit of the elections that happened on Tuesday of running a very, very dirty campaign as the Republican nominee for Virginia governor, leading up to his election loss Tuesday to the Democrat. Here's part of that interview.
Well, I think what happened, first of all, this is a big deal. This is a big win for the Democrats. No other way to read it. That among other things, particularly in Virginia, the Republicans found out that running a Trumpism kind of campaign without Trump himself campaigning directly for you doesn't work. And also, this campaign, in the end, the Republican candidate for governor, figuring he was behind, began to run a very dirty campaign. As I've said before, this campaign was nasty enough to gag a buzzard. That didn't work.
Nasty enough to gag a buzzard. It's always the Republican being nasty. I don't even know what that means, by the way. What does it mean to be nasty? I think in the parlance of liberals, if you disagree with them, then you are nasty. I mean, that would be the only universal factor that applies in any case when you're being disparaged by a liberal.
So by any reasonable analysis coming out of last night, good news, very good news for the Democrats in not only Virginia, but New Jersey and other places. They did it the old-fashioned way. They really got organized.
And
they got people out to vote.
And they didn't have Hillary Clinton on the ballot, so that was a help.
You know, the book you mentioned, What Unites Us, I wrote it because I'm optimistic about the future. I think it'll take us a while to get there. I wanted to talk about some about hope, but hope and optimism, they only work if people are willing to act. So it's
See, we liked Obama. You know, he had that hopey changey thing, and it really worked for us. We want to go back to hopey changey, but I'm old, and I have a hard time saying the words hope.
Very old story that in our system of government, what counts the most is the vote. And in this case, the Democrats worked.
Especially the vote that you can steal. That's always good. You know, that's how Democrats, the votes of illegals, those are the votes that really count.
Hard to get their vote out. Mm-hmm. They were in a climate of, I think, generally speaking, that people want the country to be united. And much of the rhetoric and the tone coming from the Trump administration has been to divide us.
Right. All right. They want, yes. No, I agree with that, that the liberals want the country to be united, but united under their banner with absolutely no discord. Right? You can't disagree with them. That's the type of united that they want. They want absolutely everyone to toe the line. They're fascists. Now, if it's all coming from the right, okay, that's the allegation, that all this tearing apart of the country, it's all coming from the right, then please explain this to me. During this very campaign, it was an anti-Gillespie ad from the Latino Victory Fund, featuring a white man in a pickup truck chasing children, multicultural children. And this is what passes as civil discourse if you're a liberal. You got a couple of kids, black child and a burqa wearer walking. Now, it's a kid running from a Ford F-250 with a Confederate flag on the back. Kid's looking around. Here comes the truck again. Run! Now he's telling other kids that he sees to run. Run from this Gillespie guy.
Run!
Finding more kids. Run away from the evil man with the pickup truck. He's white, you know.
Run!
Here comes the pickup truck following him down an alley. Oh my God, he's gonna get us! And then the kid wakes up from a dream. All the kids wake up.
Is this what Donald Trump and Ed Gillespie mean by the American dream?
From the same dream.
Latino Victory Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advert.
So it's a propaganda piece trying to point out that all Republicans are just evil bigots that chase down kids in trucks. Isn't that nice? I don't understand how one can logically go on television and say that isn't divisive, that isn't evil. Because, look, when you have an ad like that, you are not targeting a individual candidate anymore. We know that you're not. You're targeting individual voters, telling the other side how bad they are, showing how much you hate them because of your characterization. And to say that we have any common ground anymore is simply foolish. In other news, we'll just go through these stories pretty quickly here. Apparently, that nuclear deal that Obama did with Iran probably was worthless to begin with. A former high-ranking government official who is an intelligence expert regarding nuclear weapons told the Daily Wire in an exclusive interview that former President Barack Obama and his Iran nuclear deal is a complete failure, as Iran most likely has had nuclear weapons for the past decade. Yeah, they already had nuclear weapons, and this I don't know why we did the sanctions relief. It was just a big help out to Iran. Who knows? And now there's no way that we could ever possibly get those sanctions put back on. He said, quote, oh, by the way, the guy's name is Dr. Peter Vincent Pry. He says, quote, I think Iran already has a bomb. I think Iran has already got a nuclear weapon mounted on its missiles and has the potential to do an EMP attack against the United States right now. Of course, an EMP attack is when you take a nuclear weapon and you launch it into space and detonate it above the atmosphere. When you do that, as the nuclear particles hit the atmosphere, it creates an electromagnetic wave that can knock out electrical service. Anything that's not hardened against an electromagnetic pulse will be destroyed, and that can cause a lot of problems within a country. Basically, it would knock out our electrical grid, and that's a very dangerous thing. So apparently, everything that we did to come up, all these gifts that we gave Iran for the Iran nuclear deal, remember, they didn't give an inch, right? We got nothing. We didn't even get hostages out of it. And they got sanctions relief. So good job, Barack Obama. Uber apparently has failed in its attempt to have a key ruling on its employees' rights overturned, a decision that could have major consequences for the transport app and the wider gig economy. The U.S. ride-hailing firm has appealed last year's employment tribunal decision that said that drivers qualify as workers rather than self-employed, a ruling that could make them eligible for minimum wage and holiday pay. Uber argued that its drivers do not work for the company but are self-employed, and they typically make above minimum wage, but critics say that it's breaking the law and exploiting drivers. You know, if that's, you don't have to work for Uber. That's the whole point. This is an opt-in thing. You do not have to work for Uber. So if people think they're being exploited, they go work for somebody else. It's pretty simple. They don't lose anything. It's the easiest deal. You just simply don't use the app anymore. It doesn't cost the company anything. It doesn't cost you anything. It's the most egalitarian thing on the face of the planet. And of course, the socialists in Europe don't want that to continue. What about the people that use Uber? Okay. What about those people? Do you not care about those people that are actually making money? Of course you don't, because you're socialists and you don't believe the individual has the right or the ability to make decisions on their own. And in some cases, you may actually find some proof of that. A Georgia teacher is, on the unemployment line now because he threatened a student. Yeah. You know, you hear a lot of these stories and you're like, okay, what happened? Didn't really happen. It's just one side. The kid was unhappy about a grade he got. Then the parents walked in. Next thing he knows, a threat and he's fired. I can't believe that happened. Well, this is a little bit different. There's actually video of the threat that teacher Paul Hagen, a physics teacher, made. Here is the clip.
I'm just serious, dude. You screw with me, you're going to be in big ass trouble, okay? Don't smile at me, man, okay? That's how people like you get shot.
Ooh, shot.
I got a bet. I bet by the time you're 21 cents, it'll fall right in your head. Okay? And it might be me the one that does.
Yeah, great guy. Don't screw with me, man. That's how you get shot. So, probably not the greatest educator. Yeah. There's a new video that came out in regards to the Texas shooting. It's not real new information, but it shows you the sort of frame of mind that the two guys, the two heroes of Texas, were in right after this thing happened. The video was shot by Johnny Langendorf, one of the Texas heroes in the aftermath of the First Baptist Church shooting in Sutherland Springs. It shows Stephen Williford talking to police in the moments after the shooting of Devin Patrick Kelly and his car crashing. The two guys got together. They took off after this guy, and once everything had stopped and the police are there, this is the video that Mr. Langendorf took. And, well, the video is very long. Most of it's just, looking at the cops and looking at the road. It's like 6 minutes or 11 minutes of video. And then at the end, it has the little questioning that happened by police officers.
Steve, 55. Where do you live at? What's your home address? Okay. So you think you may have shot him?
I can't think of any other reason why he took that sign out and ended up in that ditch.
Okay.
I know I put some well-placed shots. I got an EOTech on an AR, and I think they were well-placed shots.
Okay, and that took place in Sutherland Springs area, or?
That's my house,
Okay.
right across from the church. I was home when I heard the shots, and I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So I had to, I had to get in my safe.
Okay, but this guy was at a high rate of speed when he was coming.
Yes, and then he started slowing down this way.
Okay.
He stopped for.
This man was on the corner.
Okay.
And I chased him, and this man, he was on the corner,
right,
with his truck, and I
Look at his
didn't even know
handshake.
you, man. And I said, "Thank you so much." I said, "That's the guy." Jumped in the truck with him, and we gave chase.
What is your last name?
Langendorf.
What is your first name?
Johnny.
What's your date of birth?
10690.
Okay. Where do you live at?
I live at.
That's not very nice.
In what city are you out of? Okay, just sit tight, okay? You don't mind. If you can help him, if you can use your phone to call his wife.
Let me call my wife and my family.
Yeah. So you could tell he's trying to get all the information out there. Oh, by the way, the reaction of Mr. Langendorf in regards to the police asking him questions, that's how you not get shot. What's your name? This is my name. Where are you from? This is where I'm from. You got your ID. Here you go. You were certainly complying at that point in time. But it's just amazing to me how well they kept it together. I think Mr. Langendorf was sort of along for the ride. He's like, let's go get him. And he's like, okay, and takes off. Whereas the guy with the gun was sort of being the commando at the time. And you can tell that he's just such a soft-hearted man. And for him to be able to keep his wits about him, this is one of those things that hasn't been talked about a whole lot. What he did was brave, yes, but he also did it very well, okay? When they were at the church, it wasn't just this guy shooting at the assailant, right? The assailant was shooting back. There was bullets going back and forth. But the guy found cover, got his rifle, put the radical where it needed to be and pulled the trigger. He had a tremendous amount of control, even though he was in a situation of extreme duress. That comes from, well, a lot of different places. It comes from training, most generally. And I think we need to give this gentleman credit for being as good at what he did as could be expected. I don't think a police officer would have done a better job than this civilian did, and I think that's a very important point. And as far as the gun debate goes, every day there's another story, this one from the Blaze. Armed intruders trying to rob a home, kidnap teen girl, have a change of heart when dad emerges with a gun. 4 intruders armed with guns and a knife tried to rob a Florida home of a man that they believed to be wealthy and then kidnap his 17-year-old daughter. The homeowner, 51, told deputies that his daughter called saying the road to their home was blocked with barrels and garbage cans. Turns out the culprits hoped to force the girl from the vehicle after she saw the road obstacles, but she just drove around them. Soon after, her father, hearing dogs barking, saw motion-activated floodlights turn on and heard what sounded like a car door closing. He got up and got his gun at that point. Sure enough, he saw the intruders trying to force their way into the garage, and he fired 3 shots. The suspects ran into the nearby woods after having unscrewed some of the security lights. A neighbor saw a suspicious car near the home about the same time and told deputies, who soon pulled over a 2016 white Jeep Liberty. Inside the vehicle were 3 suspects ranging in age from 15 to 17, along with a 19-year-old named Cleon Johnson. There he is. Looks like a happy guy, doesn't he? Deputies also found latex gloves, facial masks, and dark clothing. So they were going to do some evil things. God knows, 17-year-old could have been raped, could have been murdered. Who knows what it is? It could have turned out very, very badly, if not for a gun and someone willing to use it. All right, we're going to call that it for a podcast today. It's only about 25 minutes long. Usually I run about 40 or 50 minutes, so hey, it's a Friday, my friends. Go to the website, michaelnewmanproductions.com. There you can keep in contact with me, get the contact link there. You can check me out on Twitter, Newmaniac1. You can also, most importantly, support the show. Please do that. Oh, by the way, if you're on Facebook and you're getting my stories via there, please like and share. Sharing is very important. Give me a little thumbs up, like, and share these videos and see if we can't get them out there to a broader audience. Have a great afternoon.
Wow, see ya!